Before we get into today's show, let me tell you about the latest deal from Mike Lindell, MyPillow. Once again, the big box stores have canceled their orders simply because they don't agree with Mike Lindell's politics. They don't like it because he supports President Trump. Well, he's going to pass that savings on to you. No more middleman. And boy, does he have some great deals on the Giza Dream sheets and the Percal bed sheets. Listen to this. Giza Dream queen size, normally $139.98. Your wholesale price, $69.99 when you use promo code Joey. King size, only $79.99. The Percal queen size, normally $89.98. Your wholesale price, $29.98 when you use promo code Joey. Just call 1-800-893-4059 or go to MyPillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. Free shipping options available. This allotment's not going to last very long. When they're gone, they're gone. MyPillow.com, promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Welcome as we kick off another week. Glad to have you join me. President Trump says he has negotiated, quote, the biggest deal ever made with the EU, saying that Europeans will buy $750 million in U.S. energy and invest another $600 billion. Senator Lindsey Graham sparred with NBC anchor Kristen Welker over Tulsi Gabbard's new Russiagate allegations. Things got a little heated yesterday. Secretary of State Marco Rubio dismissed speculation that he could be the Republican Party's 2028 presidential nominee, instead throwing his support behind Vice President JD Vance. And in other political news, South Carolina Congressman Ralph Norman added his name to the growing list of gubernatorial candidates yesterday, speaking to an estimated crowd of about 800 in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Representative Norman laid out his plan for South Carolina. We have those details for you. And some upstate South Carolina Daniel High School football players are being accused of beating one of their teammates at a football camp in early July. This story has grown over the weekend as additional details have been disclosed via social media, with the Pickens County School District issuing a statement last night. We have that story for you in today's show as well. It's a busy Monday. Glad to have you join me.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
75 minutes. That's all it took for President Donald Trump to walk into a closed-door meeting with European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and walk out with what he's calling the biggest deal ever made. So let's talk about what happened in Scotland. Europe, the entire 27-nation bloc, agreed to buy $750 billion worth of American energy. They also pledged to invest another $600 billion in the U.S. economy. On top of that, they're buying more American-made military equipment, a lot more. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Tariffs. Under this new deal, tariffs on many American exports to Europe dropped to zero. But tariffs on most European goods coming into the U.S., they jumped to 15%. That's not a typo. That's a 15% duty going up, and the Europeans took the hit. Trump says this agreement brings us closer together, but now let's be honest. This deal is lopsided, if you really want to be honest about it, and unapologetically pro-American. The European Union president admitted that their main win was that Trump didn't slap them with the 30% tariffs he's been threatening. That's what they got, avoiding worse. It's kind of like, well, it could have been a lot worse. Now, let's put this in perspective. The EU is our biggest trading partner if you treat it as one block. Nearly $2 trillion in trade last year. But we had a $235 billion goods deficit with them. That imbalance? Yes, Trump says not anymore. He made clear this wasn't just about trade. The EU agreed to purchase a vast amount of military equipment, though as Trump put it, we don't know what that number is yet. He also kept steel and aluminum tariffs at 50% and told reporters there's no backing down from the August 1st Liberation Day tariff deadline. He seems to be set on that this week. This deal also excludes pharmaceuticals. Trump's drawing a hard line there. He says he wants to bring drug manufacturing back to the U.S., and Europe's going to pay 200% tariffs if they don't like it. That's their biggest export to us, by the way, and that's going to change. Critics in the economic elite called this approach reckless. But Trump's team, they're taking a victory lap. His Commerce Secretary said that Trump just unlocked the EU's $20 trillion market. His economists say this is another black eye for the so-called expert consensus. Now, let's be real. This is pretty bold. It's pretty aggressive. And whether you love him or hate him, President Trump just got Europe to swallow a deal most presidents would not have even attempted to do. Most presidents would not have even asked them to do this. He's now inked similar tariff-first deals with the UK, Japan, Vietnam, and others. China, well, who knows? He's given them a deadline, too. Russia, a 100% energy tariff if they don't end the war in Ukraine. Folks, this isn't your grandfather's trade policy. This is maximum leverage, take it or leave it. We're in the driver's seat. And right now, the world seems to be taking it. Things got a little bit heated yesterday on NBC's Meet the Press. Senator Lindsey Graham squared off with host Kristen Welker over some explosive new claims out of the intelligence community that we talked about last week. Welker tried to steer the conversation towards Jeffrey Epstein, but Senator Graham wasn't having it. So what's the story here? As you know, we'll do a quick review here. Tulsi Gabbard dropped a political bombshell last week. According to Ms. Gabbard, declassified intel in a 2020 House report showed that in the final days of the Obama administration, the intelligence community was pressured to alter its assessment of Russia's interference in the 2016 election. Now, Gabbard says the original intel didn't conclude that Russia was helping Trump. Quite the opposite. Putin supposedly believed Hillary Clinton would win and act accordingly. Gabbard calls it a treasonous conspiracy. Naturally, former President Obama fired back, calling the claim bizarre and a weak attempt at distraction. He pointed to bipartisan findings, including a 2020 Senate Intelligence Committee report that said Russia did try to help Trump, even if they didn't directly try to alter the votes. But here's where it got a little wild. Kristen Welker tried to put Lindsey Graham on the defensive yesterday, asking if all of this was just a way to, quote, distract from the Epstein matter. Graham exploded at the suggestion, accusing the press and NBC specifically of burying the story and protecting the establishment. He defended Gabbard's claims, said that they revealed things that we hadn't heard before, and demanded a special counsel to investigate whether Obama or his team meddled with intelligence to protect Hillary Clinton.
You know, former President Obama has weighed in through a spokesperson. He says that's just patently false. I actually spoke to Susan Miller, who's a former senior CIA officer who helped oversee the 2017 intelligence assessment on Russian interference. She says it's completely false that Obama or anyone else asked them to change or sway their investigation. She says she says, and she's a Republican, says they all would have quit if that had happened. Senator, are you trying to rewrite history to distract from the Epstein matter, Senator?
No, I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before. At the end of the day, I'm not calling for a prosecution against President Obama for treason, but I am calling for an investigation. Mr. Miller also said there was no credible evidence that President Trump colluded with the Russians.
Now, let's not forget, Graham once agreed with the assessment that Russia helped Trump. But now he says the Mueller investigation was rotten to the core and that the media owes the public an apology. Quote from Graham, "For years and months and days and weeks, people had their lives turned upside down chasing the Mueller narrative. You're trying to sweep this stuff under the rug, and that's not right." So what's really going on here? Is this about correcting the record or playing defense as we head into the 2026 midterm election year? Is Tulsi Gabbard blowing the whistle on corruption? Or is she just throwing red meat to the base like some of the media would want you to believe? And was NBC really trying to tie this to Epstein, to derail the conversation? Do they really think that Tulsi Gabbard released that report last week to try to get the media away from Epstein, to try to change the narrative? Because why? Because they think that Donald Trump was involved with Jeffrey Epstein somehow? One thing's for sure. The stakes are higher than ever. We need to know what really happened with the Epstein situation. But we also really need to once and for all understand what happened with Russiagate. We need to once and for all know what involvement Barack Obama had, what involvement Hillary Clinton had, what involvement Bill Clinton had. We need to know exactly who was behind that and put it all out into sunlight. Let us all be able to see it for ourselves, read the report, and make our own decisions. Until this is done, we're going to have all of these accusations and all of these rumors continue to go until we can have the information and we can all make our own decisions. Joey Hudson here. America is facing a health crisis, and the answer isn't more meds. I lost over 30 pounds on the PhD weight loss plan without Ozempic or any weight loss shots. Don't settle for a lifetime of medication. GLP-1 injections like Ozempic help some people lose weight, but they come with side effects, high cost, and most gain it back when they stop. At PhD Weight Loss, we reveal Big Pharma's big secret. Your body already makes GLP-1, the appetite-fighting hormone. Our program helps your body make it naturally so you'll drop the pounds faster. With the PhD method, no side effects, no long-term risk, no rebound weight gain, just natural, lasting results, all without hunger or cravings. Right now, get a free body scan and personalized metabolic assessment. Discover your body's true potential without a shot. It's free and gives you the keys to your personalized plan. Do like I did and don't trade your health for a quick fix. Call now at 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900 or visit myphdweightloss.com, myphdweightloss.com. Looking ahead to the 2028 presidential election, I know we haven't even gotten through the midterms in 2026 yet, but hey, you have to admit we're all thinking, all right, what's next? What happens after Donald Trump's second term ends and he can't run for another? Secretary of State Marco Rubio dismissed any speculation that he could be the Republican Party's 2028 presidential nominee, instead apparently throwing his support behind Vice President JD Vance. Now, there's been a lot of speculation that Marco Rubio might be a potential candidate in 2028, that he might challenge JD Vance, assuming that JD Vance is going to run, which is a fair assumption. Mr. Rubio said during an interview with Laura Trump that aired on Fox News on Saturday, he said, I think JD Vance would be a great nominee if he decides he wants to do that. Rubio also described Vance as one of his, quote, closest friends in politics. He went on to comment or commend Vance's performance as vice president during the segment on My View with Laura Trump and made clear he is satisfied with his current role in President Donald Trump's cabinet.
Final question. You just brought up your run in 2016 for president. You are talked about quite frequently as a possible contender in 2028. Do you have your sights set outside of the State Department?
Well, I think J.D. Vance would be a great nominee, and if I think if he decides he wants to do that, and so I think he's doing a great job as vice president. He's a close friend, and I hope he intends to do it. I know it's kind of early, but being in the role that I'm in here at the Secretary of State, I really don't play him because you just don't know, things change very quickly. But that said, I believe that if I am able to be here, through the duration of this presidency, and we get things done at the pace that we've been doing the last 6 months, I'll be able to look back at my time in public service and say, I made a difference, I had an impact, and I served my country in a very positive way. And I would be satisfied with that as the apex of my career, so that's what I'm focused on right now, because we're doing some special things that I think are going to bear dividend and fruit for a generation.
President Trump appointed Rubio to serve as the nation's top diplomat shortly after defeating then Vice President Kamala Harris in the 2024 election. Rubio, previously a Republican senator representing Florida, was among the first confirmed to Trump's cabinet. And we have another candidate jumping in the race for South Carolina governor. As expected, Congressman Ralph Norman made it official yesterday.
Which is why I'm here to announce I'm running to be the 118th governor of South Carolina.
launching his campaign yesterday based on his conservative principles, his anti-establishment rhetoric over the years, and backed by a lineup of political heavy hitters. Mark Meadows was there, Nikki Haley, former Senator Jim DeMint, all jumping in to throw their support behind Ralph Norman. Reportedly, there were about 800 supporters packed into the Magnolia Room in his hometown of Rock Hill. The crowd was seen waving red signs saying term limits, which is one of the things that he's going to talk about, chanting, "We want Ralph." Norman presented himself as a businessman and a fighter who's ready to clean up Columbia, he said, and overhaul a government, he says, is bloated, inefficient, and too comfortable with the status quo. Ralph Norman, 71 years old. He represents South Carolina's 5th District and has served in Congress since 2017. He's one of the most outspoken fiscal hawks in the House Freedom Caucus and has always been outspoken with his support of Donald Trump, but he's also been outspoken at times when he just felt like that he could not support some of the things, primarily budget items, that the Trump administration was supporting at the time. Former Trump Chief of Staff Mark Meadows introduced Representative Norman. He talked about his record as a defender of economic freedom and a taxpayer superhero. He said Ralph Norman will clean up Columbia like President Trump is cleaning up D.C. Norman's launch yesterday also came with endorsements from former Governor Nikki Haley, whom he supported in the 2024 GOP presidential primary, and former U.S. Senator Jim DeMint, and a longtime conservative movement leader. DeMint said in a statement, if you looked up principled conservative in the dictionary, there would be a picture of Ralph Norman. Haley called Norman a strong conservative who never stopped challenging Columbia's establishment. She said, when Ralph Norman is governor, it will once again be a great day in South Carolina. Now, from the podium, he was flanked by American South Carolina flags. Norman laid out a campaign built on limited government, conservative values, and a lot of reform, a big dose of reform. Norman said, we're going to clean up Columbia, and we're going to do it with term limits, with transparency, and with tough love. Some of the issues he talked about, again, term limits at the top of the list. He pledged to push for limits on how long state legislators can serve, saying career politicians are numb to the people they serve. Now, this sounds good. I think we all agree that we probably need term limits. But the reality here is Ralph Norman, or no one else for that matter, in the governor's mansion can give us term limits. That's something that the South Carolina legislature would have to do. And I'm not sure they're in the mood to limiting their own terms anytime soon. He talked about tort reform. He talked about a whole list of issues. Judicial reform. He pledged to primary rhinos, Republicans in name only, and support more conservative challengers to shake up the GOP establishment. He talked about government efficiency. Congressman Norman called for the creation of a Department of Government Efficiency to track spending and root out fraud, waste, and abuse across state agencies. And he talked about school choice and infrastructure. He emphasized giving families more educational options and building better roads and bridges. He joins Lieutenant Governor Pamela Abbott, Attorney General Alan Wilson, State Senator Josh Kimbrell, and possibly U.S. Representative Nancy Mace, who is reportedly considering a run. A school board member in Florida has ignited a firestorm with a Facebook post following the death of Hulk Hogan. Here's the story. Sarah Rockwell is chairman of the Alachua County School Board. She started a firestorm when she posted about Hulk Hogan, the wrestling legend who passed away last week at 71. Now, people worldwide have been honoring Mr. Hogan's legacy, offering condolences, offering prayers and support for the family. Ms. Rockwell, she posted, good, one less MAGA in the world. People are just mean. That was totally unnecessary. And she's on the school board. She's supposed to be leading this school district in Florida. a school board leader tasked with guiding the educational futures of children in her community, instead of expressing her condolences or not saying anything at all, actually, she chose to express political hatred in the aftermath of someone's death. Unsurprisingly, the backlash was swift. Her comment went viral. She followed up with a statement apologizing, deleting the post, limiting comments, and trying to walk it back. Here's her apology. She said, "I deeply regret making the comment. I never have and never will wish harm on anyone regardless of political views. While I strongly disagree with some of the comments Hulk Hogan made, that is no excuse." She went on to pledge her continued service to the county's students and promised to rebuild trust. But now ask yourself, is deleting the post and putting limits on comments enough? Does it erase what she expressed in the first place and what she really meant? Her words weren't a gaffe. This wasn't a mistake. They were a politically motivated attack on Hulk Hogan's political identity, posted just shortly after his death was announced. Now, here's the kicker. Hogan wasn't some unknown figure. He delivered a fired-up, unapologetically pro-Trump speech at last year's RNC in Milwaukee. I was sitting there in the Coliseum listening to it. I saw it. I witnessed it. He said to a very large cheering crowd, "Donald Trump is a real American hero. I'm proud to support my hero as the next president of the United States." The crowd just went nuts over Hulk Hogan. I mean, that was Hogan, a cultural icon turned political supporter. So when Rockwell wrote "one less MAGA," she literally meant what she said, that his politics made him less deserving of respect in death. Then President Trump, who had a warmly personal relationship with Hogan, posted a heartfelt tribute. He mourned Hogan on True Social as a friend, a MAGA warrior, and a guy with a big heart. And he promoted Hogan's impact and speech as one of the highlights of the RNC, which it was. The national respect for Hulk Hogan made Ms. Rockwell's comment look even more tone-deaf, which raises broader questions. What we demand of public officials, what we expect of public officials. Teaching kids to treat one another with respect, fostering unity rather than celebrating a death. Because in public service, race, gender, creed, religion, even political affiliation are beside the point. Every student deserves respect. Every family deserves a board member who treats them with dignity. Those are the responsibilities of a person in a leadership role. The camera's on you when you're a public servant, like a school board member. And credibility isn't just measured by policies or board motions, it's measured by your character. What message does it send to students and to families when the chair of the school board expresses joy at someone's death because they held opposing political views? And now she wants to just delete the post and pretend she didn't say it? Now, there's been no indication of formal consequences. No recall effort, no censure vote yet. But the question remains, should there be? Should someone surviving decades of service be able to get by with just an apology and taking the post down? At the end of the day, what does the county school board chair's comments say about the kind of leadership expected in our classrooms and our communities? What kind of tone will students absorb from a person shaping policy for their education? In a democracy, we all know disagreement's healthy, even necessary. But saying good riddance because of a political label, that's not leadership. That's partisanship weaponized in the wrong moment, setting a terrible example for the children that she's supposed to be serving. We'll see if Rockwell's promise to put our children in schools first translates into action that will rebuild that trust that she talked about. But make no mistake, this controversy isn't something that vanishes once the post is deleted. It will linger. Educators, parents, and neighbors are watching. But this type of hatred and vitriol is just a preview of the hatred that we're seeing in our country right now. And unfortunately, in some areas, things have turned violent. People are just attacking one another, literally. Have you seen the video circulating from Cincinnati? I wish this next story wasn't real, but unfortunately it is. It's the kind of thing that sticks with you long after the headlines move on, and it happened right here in America in downtown Cincinnati. So here's what happened. Over the weekend, just blocks from the Cincinnati Music Festival, a disturbing video started circulating. If you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's been circulated on X, on Facebook, and social media in general. A group of individuals ambushed a white man, sucker punched him from behind, then proceeded to beat him into the pavement. Now, this group of individuals were black. They kicked him, they stomped him, they hit him while he was already down, and they kept kicking him. And the worst part, nobody stepped in. You saw a whole crowd of people gathering around him with their cell phones taping the whole thing. Nobody tried to stop it. They just stood there with their phones and recorded it. Now, as if this wasn't enough, a white woman, and I don't know if she was related in some way or what, but she steps in trying to help him. She too was attacked. She got hit so hard that she went down head first to the pavement. You could see her head hit the pavement, and she was lying there unconscious on the street, blood visibly coming out of her mouth. And again, not one person stepped up. Just more bystanders watching, filming, and literally laughing. Bunch of thugs. Now, let me be clear. This wasn't a fight. This was not a misunderstanding. This was a pack of people targeting someone and unloading on them with zero regard for human life. Now, police say this wasn't connected to the festival itself. Apparently, it started after a verbal exchange, but they're still piecing things together. Was it racially motivated? Was it random? Again, that's under investigation. But violence is violence, no matter what. And what we saw in that video was just disgusting. Downright disgusting. It just makes you angry when you see a group of thugs, and they were thugs, beating this poor man, and then when this woman's trying to help him, they slam her to the ground. Cincinnati Police Chief Terry Thiege issued a strong statement condemning the attack. She said what we're all thinking, that this kind of behavior is cruel, unacceptable, and inexcusable. She's asking the public to help identify those involved. She's asking you to call Crime Stoppers. Now, you can watch the video, and a lot of these people who are involved, you can clearly see them. So I hope they will spend the time and actually start identifying these thugs and take them off the street. And I'll say this. The president of the police union hit the nail on the head. He said what's equally disgusting is the crowd of people who stood there watching, not calling for help, not stepping in, just filming it as if this was some kind of twisted sideshow. I mean, we have to ask ourselves, when did we become spectators instead of citizens? When did recording someone's trauma become more important than trying to step in and stopping it? Look, I don't care what the politics are. I don't care who started what. We've lost something vital when a man can get stomped in broad daylight and nobody lifts a finger. If that doesn't shake you up, I don't know what will. It's not about race. It's not about headlines. It's about right and wrong, and it's about decency. Just common decency. But it gets worse because there's a similar instance being reported right here in the upstate of South Carolina. Coming up, the Pickens County School District issued a statement last night after a story started circulating on Friday about 3 black D.W. Daniel football players attacking a white teammate at a Fellowship of Christian Athletes summer camp earlier this month. We're going to dive into those details up next. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. A very disturbing story is developing in the upstate of South Carolina concerning the D.W. Daniel High School football team. Now, evidently, the members of the team were at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes camp, which was being held at Presbyterian College earlier in July. And things went kind of nuts. The school district of Pickens County issued a statement late last night saying the district leadership of the school district of Pickens County is aware of and investigating an altercation involving D.W. Daniel High School students during an off-campus football retreat held in Lawrence County. That's where Presbyterian is. The football retreat, though not during the school year, was a school-sponsored event, and we take matters involving student conduct at such events very seriously. We are following our own district disciplinary policies, adhering to our athletic policy based on the South Carolina High School League guidelines, and also cooperating with Lawrence County law enforcement through their legal process. They go on to say, we want to emphasize that we fully recognize the seriousness of an altercation of this nature. While we are committed to helping our students learn and grow from their mistakes, we're also ensuring that appropriate consequences are administered in line with district policy and the law. We are aware that there are multiple factors and perspectives in this situation and remain committed to a thorough and fair review of this situation, as well as an investigation of the football program as a whole. While we're committed to helping all our students learn and move forward, we do not downplay the fact that the altercation occurred. Ensuring a safe and respectful environment is a top priority, and we are addressing this matter with the seriousness it deserves, again in line with district policies and the law. Due to federal student privacy laws that protect minors, we are unable to provide specific details about the students involved or the disciplinary actions taken. Our goal is to address this matter in a manner that promotes the long-term well-being of all students. We believe in turning challenging moments into opportunities for growth, and will continue to work with families and the community to ensure what happens. Our ultimate goal is to ensure that every student can move forward, continue their education, and grow into responsible members of the community. So what prompted that lengthy explanation statement from the school district last night on a Sunday night? What prompted that is the revelation of some very disturbing videos that are now on social media.
What's up, man? I gotta get in here. Oh, you can tag me up. Tag me up. Make him feel it. What's up, man? I gotta get in here. Oh, yeah. Nope. Don't even get up. Don't even get up.
Now, what you were hearing was 3 black kids beating a white kid. And you heard him there at the end. Don't let him get up. Don't let him get up. As they're kicking him and hitting him in the head, hitting him in the chest, hitting him in the back. This story started developing on Friday when these videos surfaced on multiple posts on Facebook. There was a report that was filed by a officer, Tracy Jordan. It was filed July the 7th of 2025. Evidently, Tracy Jordan is on the campus police force at Presbyterian College. And his report, and I'm going to summarize it because it's a pretty lengthy report, but basically, upon investigating after this had happened and this young man had been beaten, the story is this. He is accused, the young man, the victim, is accused of using the N-word on Snapchat. Now, he denies that he did use the N-word, and according to this report, there's no evidence that he did. But these 3 black kids, football players of D.W. Daniel, let him know that there was going to be some consequences for what they viewed as disrespect. So this young man had taken a shower. He had come out and got dressed. He was in his room, and in the video you can see there's a whole group of people in this room. And they close the door so that he can't leave, and they start beating him. Just hitting him in the head. When he goes to the ground, they lean over him, and they're hitting him in the chest and in the back. They're literally just beating this kid. And there's a whole group standing around, just like the story I told you about in Cincinnati a little earlier in today's show. Rather than stopping this, some of their other teammates just let it happen. They just let these 3 black kids beat this white kid almost to a pulp. Now, the story is his mom and he have since posted their own version of the story. And according to that, he was injured to the point that he will never be able to play sports again. This is according to a post from him and his mom, saying that his doctor has advised him that because of his injuries as a result of this beating, that he will never play sports again. In a post of his own, this young man writes, "This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to go through, and now I need to speak up for myself. I'm a senior at D.W. Daniel High School in Central South Carolina. On July 7th, during the first day of the FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, 7-on-7 camp at Presbyterian College, I was jumped and beaten by 3 of my teammates. He said they came into my dorm room while I was showering. When I came out with only a towel around my waist, they told me, if you try to escape, things are going to be much worse for you. They hid in my closet. They sat on my bed. They sat on my roommate's bed. They said that they had let me get dressed before they, quote, handled me. While I was putting on my clothes, they pressured me to admit to something I didn't do. They claimed that I had said the N-word in a group chat. I did not. Multiple teammates were coming in and out while I was trapped in my room, but nobody thought to get a coach. One attacker stayed outside the room and left me in the room alone for a few seconds. I quickly set my phone under the dresser, propped up on my shoe, and right before the attack started, I used the camera app on my watch to start recording. That video is now with the police, and evidently that's the video that we're seeing posted online now. The attack left me with a serious concussion, he said, along with bruises on my scalp and rib cage. Doctors told me I no longer can play contact sports. My senior season was taken from me, not by injury on the field, but by a brutal, targeted assault based on a lie. He said, I pressed charges. It's a legal matter now. But even after everything, those 3 are still on the team, still playing under head coach Chris Stone, who knows exactly what happened. He was in the building along with 7 other coaches when this happened. Now, again, if this is true, and if this coach Chris Stone is allowing these young men to continue to play on the football team, he should be fired. The school district of Pickens County should fire him and any of the other coaches who are trying to just brush this off. This is a serious matter. And Chris Stone, I don't know the man, He may be a good coach. He may be a good guy. But he needs to make sure that these three young men and some of the other young men in the room who let this happen, they all need to suffer the consequences, and it should start with them being kicked off of the football team. They should never play football at Daniel High School again. Coach Stone, I hope you're getting the message. You got to take action. And again, let me be clear. We don't have all the details yet. There's always multiple stories with something like this. But what we do know, and you can very clearly see on the video, that these three young men beat their teammate. That is indisputable. You can see it in the video. If you haven't seen it, go to my Facebook page. I have the whole story shared on my Facebook page. Just search for Joey Hudson on Facebook. Be sure and like and follow me while you're there. But again, this coach can't just, the rumor is that he's just kind of sweeping it under the rug because these three boys are star football players. That's no excuse. These three young men have to be taught a lesson, and they have to understand you can't beat someone. You can't assault someone. You'll go to jail if you do. And I just hope that this coach and the officials at D.W. Daniel High School and Pickens County School will take this seriously and let these young men know that there are consequences in life. I'm sure there'll be more on this story, as it's not going to go away anytime soon. That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.